Everybody out there, all my MDK gang members out there, go check out Cole TV. I checked it out myself. That shit's dope as hell.
Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pro Wrestling 60. I'm XLJ the OG, joined by my partner in crime, my brother from another mother, Mr. B-Ro. How you doing?
Forgot to mention that I am hailing from
I don't know
the
where you're at
most
nowadays.
prestigious and beautiful city on earth, Long Island, New York.
You're in Long Island this week, huh?
Yes.
I hear it's
Hanging
a
out with
show there.
Hanging out with my good pal, MJF.
Well, not a whole lot happened this week in wrestling, so I guess our show's done with. I mean, it was pretty boring. There's nothing really to talk about, right?
Yeah, I mean, just, oh, wait. Literal crap hit the fan. Things were set on fire. We got some stuff to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about. So, as you always like to say, hit us.
Whew. All right, welcome into PW60, a special live edition of PW60. And I say the clock starts right now.
All right. And our top story of the week goes over on Tuesday night, where the wrestling world was shook to its core. I mean, I didn't even like going in that NXT. I wasn't expecting anything. It was the most bonkers episode of NXT I think I've ever seen. But the big news, the big news coming out is yes, Jordynne Grace showed up on NXT to be Roxanne Perez's challenger for her NXT Women's Championship, and they will meet at Battleground. I just blows my mind. Like, I mean, what are your thoughts on this whole thing? Flabbergasted is the best way to describe it.
Right. I mean, come on. Did you not have this on your bingo card? Like,
I thought we were just getting a Rumble thing, maybe something on down the line, but not this. This is just whoa. Right show for it to happen on too as well, I think, with it being NXT. I love Jordynne's like what she all said, even though she wasn't on the mic for too long, but just talking about how she's laid a foundation in TNA and Roxanne's laid one here in NXT. And we're going to find out at Battleground who has laid the best foundation. But holy crap, this is like, I just, once again, just it's like when she came out, when they heard the sirens, they're like, no, there's no way. There's no way.
Well, and it's like,
lo and behold.
Yeah, it really speaks to like how much things can change when one person got out of the way.
Yeah. But here we are. So, and we're getting an incredible matchup. B-roll. Is it a possibility? Could Jordynne Grace walk out of Battleground, the NXT Women's Champion, and be a double champion?
I don't know that I'd go that crazy, but
what if it was though? Like how? Like if it's just there's so many elements that makes this so fascinating to me, this matchup. Number one, we talk about it all the time. The two best divisions in women's divisions in all pro wrestling, it's the Knockouts and it's NXT. And we said for the longest time here, well, not the longest, but here recently, that the NXT roster, it seems like it has the best women's show. But now you have the top knockout in Jordynne Grace coming over to test the champion. I mean, this is bananas, as Gwen
So-
Stefani says.
So what you're telling me is we here on PW60, we made this happen. Like we threw the gauntlet down and like challenge accepted. Like
Pretty much. Yeah, Papa H was listening. He's like, you know what, XLJ and B-Roll, I'm going to go ahead and book this for you. And, the Heartbreak Kid, too, was kind of wanting to work with Jordan Grace. Did you hear about, like, how he asked her about one of her posts where she was like, it was a joke that she was eating, like, raw meat. And he was just like, you really eat raw meat? I guess that cross-eyed bastard really couldn't tell, like, the difference between a joke and what reality is. But anyways, I digress. Still, Sean, as much as it pains me, NXT, you're killing it right now. But we are now getting Jordan Grace, and it begs the question too. People are asking, okay, this forbidden door, like, is there potential for future matchups? I mean, X was ablaze with all sorts of comments, everybody from Drew McIntyre to Moose to all sorts of stuff. Like,
them rascals thinking about a reunion.
the Rascals. Yeah. So, do you think? Dare I say it? We talked this into existence. Could we possibly get an NXT versus TNA show down the road?
I don't know. It
Mm-hmm.
it definitely makes things interesting for sure.
Yeah.
But, like,
well, as they say in the world of pro wrestling, like, never say never.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with this, we're left with more questions than answers.
Yeah. But we say it time and time again here in PW60. What a time to be alive and be a professional wrestling fan. Well, Mr. B-Roll, I think early on here.
I mean, nothing else happened in NXT though, right?
Oh, yeah. But, which there's nothing else to really talk about. But that being said, before we move forward, I think it's that time in the show where we go to our good friend Dad Hat for some advice. So let's go to Dad Hat.
It's that time of the week again. Dad Hat's Life Lessons of the Week. Brought to you by World Championship Wreckage. Find them on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. And also by the Wrestle Talk Wolfpack. 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. every Wednesday, twitch.tv/Wrestle Talk Wolfpack. And now, here's Dad Hat.
All right, kids. Always remember to get along with everyone. There's enough hate in this world. We're on this planet for a very minute second in the grand scheme of things. And the best things always happen when we play nice with others.
So at Battleground, I'm going to be challenging you for your NXT Women's Championship.
See, that's what happens when you play nice. You get what you deserve here. You get this awesome matchup we got coming at Battleground. But like you said, B-Roll, there was some other big news going on in NXT. Just when we thought we were done with like shockers for the night, at the end of the night, we got this. All ego Ethan Page shows up in NXT to attract Trick Williams and reveals that he is behind the sneak attacks these past couple weeks. And looks like he's positioned himself perhaps to get a title shot from one Trick Williams. Which were you more shocked? Were you more shocked with Jordan Grace or this? I mean, they're both pretty big.
More shocked with Jordan Grace. Because now I'll tell you why. Because you had the idea that Ethan Page was done with AEW. That was kind of, rumor had it that it was potentially, but it is so crazy that he showed up on NXT and how he did it. Because we even said, we went on record, we said we thought he would go back to TNA. And maybe, just maybe, what side is he on?
We don't know.
Is this an invasion?
He did officially say, I don't know, because he did officially say that hey, I'm not officially signed with NXT, so you never know. But a shocking double debut and surprises on a random NXT on a Tuesday night. Like, to me, I found this more shocking just simply for the fact of, like, I was not expecting to be surprised yet again. I'm like, oh my gosh, us spoiled wrestling fans. This reminds me that what happened on Tuesday night reminds me all the way back to All Out a couple years ago, where we got the double debut of Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson. So, like,
Well,
this was huge.
And don't forget, we got the debut of Sexy Red. It was a triple debut.
Yeah, about that. But nonetheless, man, like, yeah, NXT on Tuesday night was delivering, and then some. Solid show from top to bottom. Yes, and they did reveal. Speaking of sexy though, and Sexy Red, they did reveal that sexy NXT North American Women's title, which looks beautiful. We had a couple more qualifiers to figure out who's going to be in the field for that NXT North American Women's Championship. Got to see the OC in action, and Lola Feist go up against Ariana Grace. Solid show. And what a showing too from Dante Chen against Lexis King too, man. I thought that was a solid match, man. Like, once again, like I say, NXT is just killing it right now. This is definitely feels like black and gold era of NXT. I'm not going to go as far as to say better, but it is just up to par as black and gold. But let's talk about Battleground. This is looking to be a huge show coming up this Sunday. And it's cool because it's going to be in Vegas at the UFC Center, or whatever the hell they call that damn thing. But the big matchup, of course, we know Roxanne Perez defending that NXT Women's Championship against TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace. We also know that the North American Women's Championship for the first time ever will be decided in that ladder match. Lola Feist going up against Shayna Baszler. The tag team titles are up for grabs, with the OC going up against Axiom and Nathan Frazier. And what about that triple threat for the North American Men's Championship? And I got a feeling this week we're probably going to find out that old ego Ethan Page will be challenging Trick Williams for that NXT Championship. This is a solid show. But you talk about representation of the women, man. This is awesome. Like, 3 of these huge matchups, like half this card. Well, right now, as it stands, over half the card is all women's matches, man. I think that's freaking awesome. And not only that, too, yeah, there's championship matches, but I mean, you got a story here with Lola Feist and Shayna Baszler. I think it's freaking awesome. We say it here week in and week out. The NXT brand, the women's roster, it's one of the best in professional wrestling today. But Jordynne Grace has got her chance to prove us wrong this coming Sunday at NXT Battleground. And yes, as you said, oh, go ahead.
So, quick question. I would like to know, who would you say is the favorite to win that ladder match? Who is your pick?
I think it's going to be Lash. I wouldn't be shocked if it's Sol Ruka, but I think it's going to be Lash. What about you?
I'm thinking it's one of those two. I think I'm leaning more towards Sol Ruka. I think.
Yeah.
But then again, if Lash wins, like, Sol Ruka could chase. So
either way, it's a win. So, but let's also talk about it. You keep talking about, yes, it was announced that Sexy Red will be the host of NXT Battleground this Sunday. I got to be honest, I had no idea who the hell this was until, like, I had to look her up because I'm an old fart and I don't know. I don't pay attention to that type of thing, to be honest with you. Cool, I guess. I don't know. I know nothing about her, honestly, other than she.
I was thinking about getting a face tattoo.
Yeah, there you go. You should do that. But like I say, Battleground is going to be this Sunday, and it is going to be a hell of a show, and I cannot wait to see what happens. But let's talk about Monday Night Raw this past week, and a big return matchup from the King and Queen of the Ring. The Women's World Championship was on the line, with new champion Liv Morgan defended against Becky Lynch inside of a steel cage. solid matchup. A little controversial though, because Liv Morgan retains. But let's talk about it. The kiss heard round the world maybe we should call it the kiss that wasn't seen around the world. Like, how in the hell Raw missed that one? But just a little snafu there in the production. They went off the air before we could see it. But thank God we're in the day of social media, because this hit instantaneously. But oh my, looks like that Liv Morgan revenge tour is going on. Do you think Rhea can be healed up in time by SummerSlam, and they can maybe have a matchup for like custody of Dominic Mysterio? You know, do like they did back at SummerSlam of 2005, you know, or 2006, I think it was, where they had a ladder match for the custody of Dominic Mysterio. I think maybe we could get that at SummerSlam this year. No, fair enough.
Yeah, no.
You seem disgusted.
I don't know. No, not disgusted. We all knew this is where this was going. I'm more confused by Dominic's reaction more than anything. Like,
yeah, it didn't seem like he was as flustered as he should have been. Now, did he?
Who knows?
Yeah, but
I need answers. I
know. Well, we may get some answers here tonight on Monday Night Raw, which is about less than 40 minutes away from starting. So, be interesting to see what happens on Raw. But that's not the only interesting tidbit that come out of this matchup. Becky Lynch stood in the ring for a little while, sat in the ring there for a little while, and kind of walked off. And it's now coming out that she is pretty much a free agent right now. She is not re-signed with WWE. What's the future hold for the man? Is she done? Like, is she done with the WWE? Does she move on to greener pastures elsewhere? Does she hang up the boots? Or just going to take some time off for a while? I think definitely the time off is going to happen regardless of what she decides to do next. I can't see her going anywhere else other than the WWE. And if she does, it's solely for the purpose of money, because like they would just throw a fuck. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. If AEW, if Tony Khan throws a fuck ton of money at her, does she go to AEW? I mean, I think the only way she would do it is if she's the highest paid like talent or highest paid like female talent, and then that kind of puts a monkey in the wrench, so to speak, don't you think? Because when that piss Mercedes off, I don't know.
This is professional wrestling and anything can happen, but I don't think there's any way she leaves.
I don't see it happening either, but like you said, it's professional wrestling. Anything can happen. And the thing is, Tony Khan's got unlimited money. He's got big pockets. And I could see him just doing this just out of spite for the WWE to get Becky Lynch. But I think Becky's wise enough and realizes, like, no matter, and I mean, this is no disrespect, but no matter like the amount of money, I think her better play for her, she fits in better in the WWE than she would AEW. That's my personal opinion. You got nothing?
I'm thinking of every scenario and like trying to think of how it could happen. And I mean, yeah, money does talk, but I don't see it happen. I mean, it'd be kind of cool if it did, but like, I don't know.
It would be interesting just for the initial reaction at first, but I don't think it would work, me personally. But I don't know, crazier things have happened in the world of pro wrestling. So as we say, never say never. Let's talk about the rest of Monday Night Raw from this past week. Of course, we kicked off the show with King Gunther. Thank God we're not calling him that. But Gunther, his coronation, if you will, as the King of the Ring. And then, of course, Damian Priest come out. And then we got a returning Drew McIntyre. and just chaos ensued. Braun Strowman came out, which I could honestly give two shits about if I'm being quite frank. But how about the matchup though you got with Dragunov and Ricochet? That anytime those guys get together is freaking awesome, man. We also got to see Kairi Sane in action against Lia Valkyria, and Lia Valkyria kind of picking things back off from that Queen of the Ring loss. I think the big thing outside of the Becky stuff coming out of this to me was like the continuing story here with what's going on with Alpha Academy. Because it's just like Master Gable just being a dick. Like, you don't do that to Otis. Don't put Otis in a corner.
But I mean, one thing I want to talk about from Raw is you mentioned Ricochet earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Braun Breaker is literally unreal.
Yeah, he is just running through the Monday Night Raw. He's a terror, so it makes for interesting to see how Adam Pearce is going to handle him going forward on Monday Night Raw, and where it's going to lead to. Because right now it's just like, who the hell is going to stop Braun Breaker?
He's just so fast.
Yeah.
Like, so
I got
fast.
to witness in person him at NXT at the Stand and Deliver there in Philly. When he hit the ropes, he literally moved the fucking ring. It was crazy, the velocity that man can run the ropes, man. I've never seen anything like it in all my life. It's bizarre, to say the least. So, but nonetheless, it was a pretty solid Monday Night Raw, I thought. We lost B-roll here for a second. Maybe we'll try to get him back in. We'll see what happens. Let's talk about Friday Night SmackDown. And over on SmackDown, we had our King coronation, and now we had our Queen coronation as Nia Jax celebrated. But the interruption, or her coronation, was interrupted as well with a lot of shenanigans as Bayley comes out. Then you get Piper Niven and Chelsea Green coming out. Had the tag match later in the night with Naomi and Bayley against Piper and Chelsea Green. I'm terrible at that. What a promo too. Like, not shocking here, but what a promo by Paul Heyman, man. Like, just him pouring his heart out, essentially, it seemed like. And Kevin Owens, KO, not going for it. We got the on-screen television in-ring debut of the Gorillas of Destiny, or Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. Even though I know we're not calling them GOD, but still, though, they'll always be GOD to me, damn it. But that matchup, seeing them in the ring was freaking awesome, especially to see them on SmackDown, man. It's just still kind of surreal to me to see Tama Tonga in a WWE ring, but dude, I freaking love it, man. But the big story coming out of Friday Night SmackDown was AJ Styles, as he was about to hang it up, and a la Mark Henry in that pink salmon suit, AJ with that baby blue suit on, did the double turn on Cody Rhodes, and I'm assuming that we will probably be getting a Cody AJ Styles 2 match, which presumably could be at Clash at the Castle. So, but a nice episode of SmackDown. Now, there was some other controversy that happened on SmackDown too as well, and it happened with the tag team champions. So if you watch the show, you know our Tribal Queen Brie is going to have a tidbit on this. So let's go to Brie with our Tribal Queen tidbit of the week.
Well, hey, hi, hello, everybody. This is your Tribal Queen Brie with your Tribal Queen tidbit of the week. I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. Are A-Town Down Under breaking up? How many weeks have I said this, that they are the greatest tag teams in the world? And Grayson Waller just had to do Austin Theory dirty like that? He called him not relevant until he came around? No. A-Town made you relevant, Grayson Waller. But where does this go? Are they going to break up so soon? Because I feel like they were just put together not that long ago. So, like, are they already breaking them up? Like, what is going on? Like, I don't like the tension. I like A-Town Down Under getting along, causing shit. But, let's see how this goes. This is your Tribal Queen tidbit of the week.
Oh, Brie. I hope it doesn't happen for your sake, my friend. I don't know what you'll do Baytown Down breaks up, but it's being heavily teased. So I don't know if your boy Theory can recover or not, but we'll find out. Well, hey, here's an update on WWE's Clash at the Castle card, which is coming up on June the 15th. We do know we've got 2 matches officially announced. Of course, Damian Priest will be defending his WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre. And Bayley will be defending the WWE Women's Championship against Piper Niven. A little bit of a homecoming for both Piper Niven and Drew McIntyre as they're returning to their home country with big championship matches on the line at Clash at the Castle. It's hard to believe that's only a couple weeks away, man. Just goes to show you wrestling just moves at such a stupid rapid pace. Well, let's talk about AEW this week. And over on AEW, we had Dynamite this past Wednesday night, which was a solid show. A follow-up from B-Roll's back with us. A solid show, a follow-up from Double or Nothing. First off, what'd you think of Dynamite this past week, my friend? Oh, maybe we don't have him back. We'll work on it.
So Dynamite. So
Oh, there you
am I here? Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are these
We're
the
live
droids
now.
you're looking for?
Yeah.
Okay. We're live. Gotta love being live. So Dynamite surprised me in the essence of it was a little better than I thought it would be, just based off of what it was booked. I gotta say it. I kind of loved TV time.
I'm glad you brought that up. The our good buddy Best Scout was at this show, and like he gets there right when they're setting up the Jericho TV time segment. He's like, "What the hell is this?" The set is awesome. Oh man. Each week I am loving what Chris Jericho's doing. I know that's controversial. I said it. I love the learning tree Chris Jericho. I love this incarnation of him. I think he's tapping into something pretty freaking cool here because it's just like he knows what he's doing. I mean, this is the GOAT we're talking about here, and he knows what this character is. And Big Bill is shining, dude. I don't care what anybody says. Big Bill is like the most relevant I've seen him his whole time in AEW. And I love the partnership
sure.
with him and Ricky Starks, but I feel like we're seeing some of his personality. Follow them on their socials too, because they like do these learning tree weekly tidbits each week and stuff, man. It's pretty freaking awesome, man. Hey, also this hit close to home for me because this was a tie-in for HBO's soon to be released House of the Dragon season 2, baby. And of course they had to have the former dinosaur on here, the former Luchasaurus, aka Killswitch, as he went up against Swerve Strickland, and Swerve cutting off a piece of the dinosaur's hair.
Oh no!
Or was he? No. And Mercedes Moné made her Dynamite in-ring debut as she went up against Sky Blue. But the match everybody's talking about on this show is without a doubt the gauntlet match, the Casino Gauntlet match to determine the number 1 contender for Swerve Strickland's AEW Championship. And B-Roll, your boy has had a hell of a week. Not only did he win new gold in AEW, he is now the number 1 contender. Can you believe it? We're going ahead and doing it, baby. It's happening. Say it with me. Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland is taking place, and it's happening at Forbidden Door. Like, are you surprised it's happening already? Or are you kind of? I mean, I know you're excited. We're all excited. So, I mean, this match is going to be bonkers.
It is. I am excited. I barely can have words because we're ready for this match. But yeah, I guess we are a little surprised it's happening so soon. And
yep.
I just this is going to be interesting.
Too soon? Do you think it's too soon?
Probably, because Swerve shouldn't drop the belt yet. And Ospreay also shouldn't lose.
Yeah, something's going to have to give. It's going to be very interesting to see how it's going to be booked. But I mean, it's going to make for compelling television this month until we get to Forbidden Door. I don't think it's necessarily too soon. I got to see the outcome of it. I mean, it makes sense. Forbidden Door is arguably one of the biggest shows that AEW puts on every year. So, I mean, it makes sense for it to be at a huge show like this. Kind of interesting that we're getting a little bit away from the interpromotional matches, because I'm sure there's going to be some, but I also feel like too, like there's definitely some matches still to be had there. But I mean, it's obvious New Japan is in a rebuilding cycle, and hell, let's call a spade a spade. You got stars like Ospreay and Okada, who were the top dogs over in New Japan, and now they're in AEW. So I don't know, but it is going to be a hell of a Forbidden Door. I know that for sure. Also, we found out that the TNT title will be defended in a ladder match for the Bankit TNT title. And we'll talk about that here in a minute, why that title is Bankit. Also, what do you think of Trent joining up with the Don Callis family? I mean, not shocked.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't really a shocker and not confirmed, but kind of confirmed. We do know.
Oh no, it's I don't know. I think it's pretty confirmed. I mean, when they hugged and stuff, I think it's pretty official.
No. No. Agree. I'm moving on to the Mercedes and the.
Oh yes, Stephanie Fakur showing up on Dynamite, and that's going to be a hell of a matchup too. Because I can tell you this, folks, Stephanie Fakur has changed drastically since the last time these two met in that New Japan Strong Women's Championship tournament there back last year. So that's going to make for a hell of a matchup. I mean, Stephanie Fakur is one of the best female wrestlers going today. So, but yeah, it's going to be Dynamite was a solid show. Let's talk about Rampage on Friday night, as Takeshita was the first man to qualify, defeating Pento El Romero in a ladder qualifier matchup. Of course, Timeless Tony Storm was in action. And how about Ray Phoenix going up against Isaiah Cassidy? And Kyle O'Reilly, of course, was in action as well.
Wasn't it interesting to see the Lucha Brothers were both in action, but both in singles matches?
It was interesting. You know what wasn't interesting? Satnam Singh on my screen. Get him off of it because I don't want to see it. Next.
Why do I feel like a push is happening? Like
I pray to God that's not happening, but
I think it is. I think it
don't
is.
Don't talk
I
that
feel
into
like,
existence.
I
bro.
feel like we're gonna get like a Punjabi prison match type deal.
Don't you dare talk that into existence. Let's talk about Collision. So Collision had a hell of a matchup with Will Ospreay and Kyle O'Reilly for the AEW International Championship. It was phenomenal. Johnny TV was in action as well, going up against Claudio Castagnoli. I thought Collision wasn't a bad show, but I don't think it was one of their better ones that they've had in a while. I felt kind of more, I hate that word, enhancement talent, but it just, I don't know. It didn't knock my socks, really. But they did have a hell of an opener, though, with Roderick Strong and Leo Rush. And now we found out on Dynamite, it's going to be Roderick Strong going up against Swerve Strickland for the AEW Championship. That's going to be an interesting matchup. But I don't know. What do you think of Collision? I think it had a great opener and a close, but other than that.
I think that's the best way to sum it up. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. If it wasn't for another match happen this week, Ospreay and O'Reilly would have been match of the week.
Yeah. And honestly, Collision.
That's a little teaser.
That's a little teaser. But honestly, Collision did have like some huge competition on Saturday night. So, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit as well. But nonetheless, we are on the road. Can you believe it? We are on the road, B-roll, to Forbidden Door. And we do know two matches, of course. That Swerve Strickland Will Ospreay matchup for the AEW World Championship. And Takeshita has qualified for the TNT Championship. Now, we don't know what the IWGP Championship will be, but that is coming up here I believe in the next week or so is Dominion, and we do know Evil is going to challenge John Moxley in a lumberjack match at Dominion. So who knows? We'll find out, and we'll have some more information on that next week here on PW60. Well, B-roll, I think it's time to spice things up a bit here, a little bit, won't you say? So let's go to Spicy
Yes.
Guac with the spicy take.
Spicy Guac letting you know that Serena Deeb is still one of God's greatest gifts to the women's division. AEW, WWE, anywhere she's ever been, she has done magnificent things. And if you disagree with that, we're boxing. Because who else do you know would shave their head just to be on television week after week after week with CM Punk? Who?
Facts. Spicy tells it like it is. Well, we mentioned earlier the TNT Championship is now vacant, and it is because this man, the rated R superstar Adam Copeland, is going to be on the shelf for a little while, it looks like, as he did, in fact, break his tibia in that brutal barbed wire cage match at Double or Nothing this past Sunday. I hate to see this, man, especially like with him in his career. He looks like he was having fun there in AEW, man. Facing just also wrestling all the time. So I love Adam, man, but I hope he doesn't do anything like this. He doesn't have to do anything like this, you know. He's going down as like one of my all-time favorite wrestlers personally. I wish him well. I know we wish him well. We hope to see him back in the ring soon, but get to feeling better, good sir, and hopefully we'll see you back in that squared circle very, very soon. And also this week in AEW, got some contracts expiring or coming to an end. So we know Jake Hager, Mark Henry, and Arn Anderson all have left AEW. It's not a big deal, honestly, I don't think. I mean, what the hell was Jake Hager doing other than his hat bit? And then Mark and Arn, I mean, I think they were maybe doing some stuff behind the scenes. I don't know, but I mean, they can kind of move on, do their own thing. There is a rumor going on around Arn Anderson. Don't know how true this is, so take this for what it is. But it sounds like Arn Anderson may be going to the WWE as an on-screen character and could reprise his role as Cody's manager. What do you think of that? What do you think of Arn and Cody reuniting in the WWE? You think they could do that? And would it make sense?
I don't know. I just don't know that Cody really needs a manager.
I agree. I don't think I love Arn to death, but I really don't think he needs a mouthpiece. I think it's fine. So, I don't know. We will see what happens if Arn Anderson does in fact go that route, or just kind of does his own thing. I mean, he's the enforcer; he can do whatever he wants. Just watch out before he whips out that gun. No, I'm just kidding. Let's talk about TNA Impact this past week. Of course, we were here for those tapings once again there in Newport, Kentucky. Some solid matchups, man. We got to see that Austin and Chris Bay matchup, man. That Ace Austin Chris Bay matchup. That match is sick, dude. And speaking of that, also it's another great matchup too with Mustafa Ali defending that X Division championship in a hell of a matchup against Leon Slater and Mike Santana, and even Mr. White Bread himself, Steve Macklin, actually had a good matchup. But that just goes to show you how great Santana is. Macklin's, I guess, okay in the ring. He just fucking does nothing else, in my opinion. But whatever. What do I know? I'm a fickle wrestling fan, apparently. And I believe in Joe Hendry, as Joe Hendry took on the system and defeated Eddie Edwards. I am telling you, my friend, I think it's time. We all believe in him. You remember, B-Roll, we left the tapings there. What was everybody doing? We were even driving by and people were yelling out that we believe. Because we believe in Hendry. Impact has got something very rare here right now. Or TNA has something very rare here right now. They have got a megastar who's super hot right now in Joe Hendry. And Slammiversary, it needs to be Joe Hendry and Moose for that TNA championship. And Joe, he needs to go from the local hero to all of our heroes. And Joe Hendry needs to win that championship. Like, he's the hottest act they have there in TNA by far. No disrespect to anybody else there, but I'm telling you, they need to pull the trigger and put that belt on Joe Hendry. But we got an update on TNA Against All Odds. And this is interesting. Jordan Grace is going to put her Knockouts championship on the line, but against a mystery opponent?
A mystery opponent, you say?
Makes you wonder. I'm just saying. Also, at Against All Odds, Moose will be putting up his TNA World Championship against Matt Hardy. The World Tag Team titles are on the line, as well as the System will defend against the Nemeth brothers. And we found this out last week, of course, when we were there at the show. Trent Seven defeating Speedball Mike Bailey in that incredible matchup. He will challenge for the X Division Championship at Against All Odds coming up on June the 14th. It's going to be a solid show, man. And I cannot wait to see what's going to happen on that show. But speaking of shows and a busy weekend, MLW's Battle Riot 6 took place this past weekend. And, going into it, they had a pretty solid lineup. The Battle Riot itself was probably one of the craziest damn Battle Riots I've ever seen. Like, just the amount of surprises and just randomness. There was a point in this matchup, B-roll, where you had Sami Callihan, Paul Walter Hauser, you had Ernest the Cat Miller, you had Scotty Riggs, and Violent J in the ring. It was just like, I felt like it was a random generator, or I was playing a matchup on freaking like No Mercy on N64 or something like that. Like, what the fuck is this? But the Battle Riot was won by Matt Riddle, as he is now the #1 contender for the MLW Championship. Of course, Satoshi Kojima did defeat Tom Lawler, Filthy Tom Lawler, to retain his championship. And our good friend Alex Kane defeated AJ Francis to reclaim his throne as the king and the master of the Bumae Fight Club and that movement. Also, it's kind of cool too. Mark Henry and Teddy Long were there too, to kind of be as far as like the tribal council, if you will, there. But
the elders.
But I got a hot take for you. Another hot take for you here on PW60. And I'm saying this, and I'm speaking from my heart. I do not agree with how MLW is booking Alex Kane. I think he should be their top guy. He should have never lost that belt to Kojima. This is we just talked about when you had a case with Joe Hendry. He's your red hot star. MLW had this too. The future. And Alex Kane still can be the future of MLW, but he was in the Battle Riot and he got eliminated like 6th. Like, the final should have been between Riddle and him. I'm not a fan of it, honestly. I think they should do so much better with him. I mean, I will say this: somehow, like that storyline with AJ Francis, he made AJ Francis relevant. There, I said what I said. But I just feel like Alex Kane could be booked way better in MLW. So I'm looking at you guys. I'm hoping you do your due diligence and you put Alex Kane back on top again, because that's where he needs to be, especially in MLW. But this is what I want to talk about. GCW this weekend was insanely prolific for Game Changer Wrestling, as they had 2 shows, of course, Tournament of Survival and Cage of Survival. Tournament of Survival, if you're not familiar with, is the deathmatch tournament that they do every year there in Atlantic City now. And if you love deathmatch wrestling, man, this is for you. If you don't like death matches, you definitely would get squeamish watching some of these matches. But I was a little surprised to know John Wayne Murdoch had never won one of these things. He'd never won a Tournament of Survival. But he ended up prevailing and won the Tournament of Survival 9 in brutal fashion, too, by the way. You watched Tournament of Survival. What did you think of the chaos that was the TOS?
Last year was my first year watching it. I think the fact of the matter is the most impressive thing is like, okay, to win this tournament, you're gonna have to win 3 death matches in the same night.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally the definition of pure insanity. Don't know how they do it. I know we were talking about this. I don't know. I liked last year's more. Not that this one was bad. I don't know. It just, last year's just captivated me a little more. But
yeah, and Rina Yamashita winning it last year too. So, but the winner of this would get a shot in the gauntlet match at Cage of Survival. And boy, oh boy, let's talk about Cage of Survival. We've been hyping it up for weeks here on PW60. And I got to say, Cage of Survival delivered and then some. I have said for weeks, I've been telling you all, the rivalry between Mance Warner and Effie is the best rivalry this year in all of pro wrestling. And this was pretty much kind of be the blow off for that in Cage of Survival and B-roll. They did not disappoint. This match was brutal. I mean, this made some of those death matches the day before look kind of pale in comparison to the brutality and violence in this Cage of Survival. And of course, it had to be our match of the week this week here on PW60, the matchup between Effie and Mance Warner. Here you can see Effie getting put through a table that was on fire. I mean, fire was involved, glass. I mean, there's so many sick spots in this. What about like when they get like spears him through the cage door and they end up in like the barbed wire mess on the outside?
Yeah, through the cage onto
into barbed wire.
A barbed wire.
Yeah.
And then he ends up pile driving Mance on the barbed
wire. It's fucking crazy. But like I say, this match lived up to the hype and then some, as ending the rivalry between these two. Or did it though? Because let's talk about that. Let's talk about the big match of the night, though, was, of course, as we know, we found out last week here, if you watched our show or if you watched GCW, that the GCW title was Fank It. It is Fank It. And it was to be put on the line in a
Justice for Cousin Blake.
Justice for Cousin Blake. But nonetheless, we had the gauntlet match for the GCW title. And I got to tell you, B-roll, the last 20 minutes of this is fucking crazy. I haven't seen anything like it in years. I absolutely, it's one of those things and one of those finishes where like I will go back and rewatch over and over again. It was that fucking good. So let me lay the stage for you here. As we get down to Jordan Oliver gets eliminated by Mason, or what, Charles Mason, and Joey Janela is supposed to be the last participant, but Joey was apparently already dealing with like some serious injuries and did get jumped before this show as well. So it seemed like, okay, Joey wasn't going to make it to Death of or Cage of Survival. So Cardona starts to do a 10 count, right? And then the next thing you know, For Whom the Bell Toll hits, and Nick fucking Gage comes out, and it appears that he beats Charles Mason and wins the GCW title. But General Manager Matt Cardona says no, and thus inserts Jimmy Lloyd into the matchup. And Jimmy Lloyd, with the help of the Deathmatch Royalty, looks like he wins the GCW title. It's like, what the fuck? Are you serious? And then they put you put the sticker up and stuff too, like they're going off the air, and it's like, holy shit, Jimmy Lloyd just won the GCW title. And then Joey Janela's music hits. He comes out, he's injured as hell, but nonetheless, he somehow prevails and wins the GCW title. But not for long, folks, as then you have our good friend, the Ratty Daddy himself, Cole Radrick, comes out to cash in his brass ring. And I got to tell you, B-roll, I was fucking screaming and yelling at my TV and standing. I was just like, holy shit, this was going to happen. Of course, Steph DeLander did dethwart Cole from cashing in. But then, just when we thought we was done with him, Mance Warner comes in, cashing in his contract for his world championship matchup. And guess what? Mance Warner walked out as the GCW heavyweight championship, as the heavyweight champion. An incredible turn of events. And he is now our GCW champion. And of course, he's our wrestler of the week this week here on PW60. Just a shocking thing. And the crazy thing is you can continue on this story with Effie too, because it's brilliant. It's really brilliant because you have like, okay, Effie beat him in the war, but now Mance is the champion, and that's what Effie wants, right? He wants to be the champion, right? But at the same time too, this is what Mance wanted all along, and now through his dastardly deeds, it looks like it may have paid off. So I don't think we're quite yet done with Mance and Effie. But man, what a crazy weekend it was for GCW. What'd you think of Cage of Survival's ending, my friend?
I will say this. A lot of people will knock on GCW for their lack of storytelling or whatever. You
need to watch what happened this year between Effie and Mance, dude. I'm telling you.
Exactly. This is some of the best storytelling and feud that I have seen in my short time as a pro wrestling fan.
Yeah.
And also keep in mind, they're not doing this on a weekly televised show either. Honestly, this was unlike anything GCW had done before, with everything through the social media, to the sit down. And I absolutely just ate it all freaking up. Like,
yeah, dude, like seriously, do yourselves a favor, everybody. If you're not watching GCW, you seriously need to turn into them. It's worth paying your $8 a month or whatever for Triller just to see GCW, man. It's GCW is another one of those companies right now that is just absolutely killing it. Well, Sukiban, the Joshi promotion, made their Los Angeles debut this past week, and it just so happened to be our good friend Sienna as well as Best Gal were at this show, and they actually got some highlights from this show, so let's check that out right now. Well, it looks like a pretty awesome time there. And hey, you know what? Best Gal and Sienna weren't the only ones there, as it apparently won Jon Moxley, the IWGP champion, as well as WWE's own Nick Khan were in attendance at Sukiban too. Very interesting. Now, Mox, it makes sense, though, why he's there, because he was there supporting his wife, the great Renee Paquette, who was on commentary, by the way. But interestingly enough, our good friend Best Gal and Sienna have a tale to tell about one Renee Paquette and Sukiban. So let's check this out.
Boy, we just watched an amazing show that appeared on TikTok Live, Sukiban, of course. And, of course, Best Gal, of course, is so excited. Yeah! We saw Jon Moxley again. But he was, that's right. But he actually was there to support his wife, Renee Paquette, who was on commentary. However, he has a story to share of how he got caught taking a picture of Renee Paquette.
I was sitting there. I was the innocent bystander. But I looked over and saw a blonde-haired angel sitting at a table. I was like, I gotta take a photo of this majestic, remarkable young lady. I took a photo, and she looked dead into the camera. She knew what I was doing from like 20 feet away. And she looked not only into the camera, she looked into my soul. She knew my thoughts, my life story, what I had for breakfast. Renee Paquette is a witch, I tell you. A witch.
And there you have it, everyone. And yes, I did witness him getting his picture taken when Renee saw him. And yeah, Shania Twain.
Shania Twain!
Had to get the gimmick in. I love it, man. We love you guys. I'm so glad you guys got to have an awesome time this past weekend at Sukiban. Well, also this past weekend, B-roll.
Well, I want to know what it is. Like, John Moxley must be stalking them or something.
Yeah, he could be. He could be. But speaking of Mox, we know he's going to be having a big IWGP Championship matchup at Dominion coming up here soon. But we also now know the Super Juniors tournament has pretty much, we've got a final set in place. And it will be the main event of Dominion, as in the semifinal matches, Taiji Ishimori defeated TJP to win his block. And El Desperado defeated Doki to win his. So now we have a final matchup between Taiji Ishimori and El Desperado that will main event Dominion. So that's going to be a hell of a matchup. And Dominion's looking like it's going to be a pretty solid card, too. This week, we also found out that Gable Stevenson, who is gone now from the WWE, apparently just signed with the Buffalo Bills like that. I don't fucking understand this. Like, I don't even remember him playing football in the past. He's just done nothing but wrestling. Like, he doesn't even have to try out. He just gets a spot on the Bills team. What's that say about the Bills? Sorry, Bills fans, but I don't know, man. It's kind of weird.
Hey,
but
well, no. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not speak for him. We here at PW60 and Cole TV, we love Bills Mafia. Okay, we love Bills Mafia. We're just a little confused by this.
Well, I tell you who wasn't confused.
Bills Mafia on us.
Well, I tell you who wasn't confused is Trevor Lee, who may have the Bills Mafia at him. Did you see this tweet? Whichever one requires the least amount of work and has other people make him look good, I'm assuming. Oh, wait, wrong sport. As he was responding to what Trevor Lee, or I'm sorry, what was responding to Gable Stevenson's position or what he was doing with the Bills. So kind of revealing a little something there. I'm just saying. And also this week, this was kind of weird. Saraya had put out a kind of like some cryptic tweets. Kind of looked like she was calling out Mercedes Moné, and then she took that down, and then it looks like they were going to have some type of rivalry or something, and that's not going to happen. So I don't know what's happening there, but at least maybe they do something with Saraya. I mean, they need to do something because it's just been kind of, well, the drizzling shits. I said what I said. So, well, Mr. B-Roll, that was random. But speaking of random, let's go to our good friend Brian for Brian's random moment of the week.
Hi, back again for my random moment of the week. Yeah, because it's Brian's house of random. You ought to know by now, hopefully. Here on P to the W to the 6 to the 0. And let's see what's up my sleeve. Some ink from work. That's all I got because I'm not wearing a sleeve. Short sleeve. Whatever. All right. So, I started the What If series, and it's going to be a long series if we go every single week with all the questions I've got. So, buckle in. Safety first. Last week, I started off with Owen Hart and what would have happened for the rest of his career if he had not died in 1999 at the Over the Edge pay-per-view with the failed stunt from the rafters. I want to go back in time a little bit further, 2 years before that, or about a year and a half technically, to the results of the Montreal Screwjob in 1997 at the Survivor Series pay-per-view. And we know, of course, that was what led to Bret Hart leaving to go to WCW, and he was already on his way, of course, but all of the stuff that went with it, well, documented. And we know that Owen stayed with the WWF. Now, I want you to comment below and think about this. What if Owen Hart somehow, some way, would have got out of his contract or something, and he would have left for WCW to go with Bret? Would they have tagged and won the tag titles at some point? Do you think Owen would have became a world heavyweight champion? Imagine Owen Hart holding the big gold belt from WCW. That would be a great visual to see him have a good, consistent run. And imagine some of the talent in WCW he could have had great matches with. So think about that and comment let me know. Let us all know. What if Owen Hart went to WCW in 1997 after the Montreal Screwjob? So stick around for more what if questions coming up in the next several weeks and probably months, things like that. Yeah. So, all right. Boomity bump bump. Bye.
Oh, I love this. I love the follow up from last week too, man. It's a big what if. I personally, I don't know if WCW would have known what to do with him, but that's the thing. Is you just don't know. You never know. It's a big what if. So excited to hear out of that. We love you, Brian. And you know who else we love? We love our content creators of the week. And this week is a special one, B-roll, because this week we have a legend in the world of professional wrestling who is our content creator, our Ruby Ringside content creator of the week. That is one Kenny Bolin, the man, the genius, who has behind so many great pro wrestlers throughout the years. He has a TikTok as well as their YouTube page too, the Bolin Alley. I see what you did there. You should definitely go check it out and give them a like and subscription, as they are our Ruby Ringside content creator of the week this week on PW60. Now, also this week we found out some statistics from WrestleMania 40, and needless to say, Papa H wasn't lying when he said this was the most successful WrestleMania, as they had, get this, B-roll, over $38 million in box office revenue alone. This is a 78% increase from gate revenue compared to other WrestleManias. How crazy is that? And once again, that's just from your box office, your ticket sales, man. Like overall, like WrestleMania is going to go down not only to be one of the most prolific WrestleManias, but one of the most financially successful WrestleManias of all time. It's crazy, man. And our last story this week on PW60 is about one Chad Gable, as he falls in line like some other talent here that's happened recently. It looks like his contract is coming to an end. Let me ask you, B-roll, does Master Gable resign with the WWE, or does he seek out greener pasture, you think?
I think he stays.
I do too. I can't see him going anywhere, regardless of the amount of money. Because I mean, he's a red hot actor right now. It's working. The Alpha Academy stuff's very interesting. So, to all you naysayers that thinks Chad Gable is going to go elsewhere, I say this to you: shush. See what I did there?
Now, if you would have asked me this question a year ago, I would.
Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Pro Wrestling 60. And what a crazy week this past week was, and I can't wait to see what happens this upcoming week in the world of pro wrestling. I'm XLJ the OG, joined by Mr. B-Roll, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Pro Wrestling 60. Everybody take care.
And go Bills! Go Bills! We love the Bills here. Don't need Bill Mafia at us.